Everyone I've seen so far on YouTube told me, record in all-I, it's the best codec with the best image quality. The only drawback, the file is larger. Except for the last part, this is simply not true. I even talked to Sony, sent them my test recordings, they checked it and confirmed to me that the all-I codec does not have the best image quality. To see this phenomenon, you have to zoom in very close. In many everyday shooting situations and with a normal viewing distance, this quality problem might not be too clearly visible. But if you would like to crop in a bit in post or even use special effects, then this pixelated image can lead to significantly worse results. When tracking, for example, it leads to a higher pixel error, and keying is also affected. This means that this problem can be more or less relevant to you. Right on the first day with the camera, when watching test shots, I noticed larger pixel blocks around 8x8 pixels in size. These seem to occur especially in darker areas with many details and contrasting colors. I'll now compare the internal recording with all-I, Long GOP and an external recording in all three ProRes flavors. It is clearly visible, and I hope it can still be seen on YouTube, that all-I recordings have these pixel blocks. Long GOP does not. Interestingly, with ProRes LT, the pixel blocks are visible too, a little bit at least, but they disappear with increasing quality, ProRes 422 and 422 HQ. The differences in green screen or blue screen recordings are particularly striking. It is clear that the all-I recordings have larger pixel blocks and can display much less details than the ProRes material. Internal Long GOP recordings are also pixelated, but I would say they're right in the middle between ProRes and all-I. Just look at the differences in the hair details. A colleague came by with his GH5, we did the same tests. Unfortunately, the results are not quite comparable in that the GH5 can only record 400 Mbit in all-I, so twice as much as the Sony. The pixel blocks here are, if at all, much less visible. If you are the owner of a camera that can record both Long GOP and all-I in 4K, preferably with 200 Mbit, then feel free to contact me. Perhaps we can research this further. I had hopes that only the XAVC SI codecs of the smaller Sony cameras are affected. Unfortunately, the FX6 with its XAVC I codec also has the problem, and I can only assume that these are not the only cameras with the problem. A short explanation. An all-I codec saves every single image completely. Long GOP codecs also store these complete iframes, but images that only record the changes are also stored between these iframes. This saves storage space, but unfortunately leads to the phenomenon in editing software that you cannot scroll through the timeline as smoothly. All-I does not have that problem. If the data rate is too low, then all-I is of no use because not enough information is stored per frame. I'd be very interested to see how a 400 Mbit codec internally all-I in a Sony camera would look like. Would it have the same problems? In addition, I can imagine that H.265 or comparable compressions may not be designed for all-I or are not optimized for it. Are there also advantages of all-I, also in regards to what Sony told me? Basically, they said for moving shots, all-I is better, and for static scenes, Long GOP. It is actually the case that with big changes and camera shakes, for example, the compression of Long GOP does not work well and pixel blocks appear, which may be worse than with all-I. But Sony, sorry, all-I is still constantly pixelated. I have worked almost exclusively with Blackmagic cameras in recent years, and I'm very spoiled by B-RAW. I've partially switched to Sony again recently for the great autofocus performance, but if I now need an external recording device for high-quality recordings, it just makes me sad. Sony, you have great cameras that are unparalleled, and it's such a pity that there are these disadvantages again. I really hope I just missed something, but I have edited and viewed the material on different systems and in different software, and with the best will in the world, I can't think of a mistake at the moment that I may have made. So what does it all mean? You should be aware that an all-I codec, and especially from Sony it seems, may not be the best choice. If you're dealing with advanced editing, an external recorder offers the best quality. But also internally, it may be the best solution to shoot in Long GOP and later convert it for better editing. In any case, you should carry out your own tests to find out the best option for you and whatever it is you're shooting.